Happy New Year to you. And I was thinking, hey, we say Happy New Year, but what does it mean to be a happy dad in 2023? Question for you. How do we be happy? How do we show happiness to our families, to our partners, our spouse, our community? How do we show happiness to ourselves? Right off the bat, we're going to talk about what happiness isn't. Let's get that out of the way. And then focus in on what happiness is. Happy New Year to all of the dads out there. I did it again. Happy to be with you here on the podcast. This is Dad Space. Welcome. And again, Happy New Year. Let's talk about what happiness is not. Because I think a lot of times we get stuck in a rut. And somebody described to me that the difference between a rut and a grave is the depth of the hole. So a rut can be something that just traps us as dads. And if we have a wrong idea of where to find happiness and what happiness is, we might get stuck. And if you've ever been stuck before, it's a very helpless feeling. We have snow in Canada, and it was last winter. A 15 to 20 minute drive normally in good conditions took me 4 hours to get home after working a night shift. So the last thing I wanted to do was wrestle my way home after working all night. And my poor little car just could not make it through the snow. Pushed out several times, trapped. It was not fun. So when you get caught in a rut, in a snow rut, in a dirt rut, whatever it is, you're helpless. And if we have the wrong look at happiness, we might get stuck. And we're going to need somebody to come and give us a shove or pull us out of this situation we're in. So let's talk about what happiness isn't, okay? And this will help us to kind of frame how we can be a happy dad and enjoy a happy new year with our family. We've been telling everybody to have a happy new year, but how do we do that? So here we go. Here's what happiness isn't, right? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 things for you here. Here we go. Ready? Number 1, happiness isn't about being wealthy. Sure, money can buy us comfort and can support our family and give us freedom, but it doesn't actually make you happy. Number 2, happiness isn't about being powerful. Power is about exerting your will on others. That's what power is. Your boss has power over you. Your hydro company has power over you. Well, that's funny. Hydropower. They have power over you because they can shut off the power if you don't pay your bill, right? They have the power. Wow. Hydro has the power. Well, that just kind of came out that way, didn't it? Okay. So power is actually having the ability to exert your will on others. So happiness isn't about power. Happiness, number 3, isn't about achieving success. We talk about it in podcasting. We talk about it with authors. When I sell this many books, or if I get this many listeners, then I'll be successful. Then I'll be happy. But when you hit a number, it just means that we just add to the number and we keep pursuing the next number. And we don't find success to be the source of happiness. So number 4, happiness isn't about being excited. Now, I'm an introvert, so I display my happiness different than an extrovert. But happiness isn't about being excited. If you fall down a flight of stairs, there certainly is a great deal of excitement, correct? But you're not happy. So excitement often creates the illusion of happiness, and that illusion doesn't last. Number 5, happiness isn't a life-transforming experience. Happiness is momentary. It comes and it goes. But it doesn't change you or change your life in a significant way. Enjoy happiness while you have it. And lastly, number 6, happiness isn't always an easy thing to achieve. Most people have to work at being happy. Life has its challenges for sure. So how do you deal with them? So happiness isn't about being wealthy. I hear a lot of podcasters and content creators talking about getting you to your 6-figure income. Really? Really? That's your goal in life? You got to hit 6 figures? Well, there's some other cultures and countries around the world that's exorbitant. That's just something that's never going to happen, to be quite honest, because of the way the culture is and the way things are. I would be happy to be comfortable in my family and not pursue 6 figures. Anyway, happiness isn't about being wealthy. Happiness is not about being powerful. It's not about achieving success. It's not about getting excited. It's not about a life-transforming experience. And it's not something that's easy to achieve. Okay, so that's really negative. These are all the things that happiness isn't. But I think that those are some of the ruts that we get caught in as a dad, providing for our families, providing for our partners, providing for ourselves, is we really get stuck on some of these things, which then diverts us from true happiness. So we've talked about what happiness isn't. That's good. But let's talk about now what happiness is. There's a myth that being happy means being constantly cheerful. Ha ha, yay! This is one statement that I really have a hard time wrestling with, is that I always have to be cheerful and smiling and good morning, everyone, la-da-da. For me, there's a big difference between two ways of happiness. On one side, there's this general well-being and satisfaction with your overall situation. The family's doing good, job's going good, bills are being paid, things are good right now. For me, this includes being grateful for my health and for my spouse, my family, for where I live, my situation, for having the opportunities to create the life that I want. We all want to level up and move to the next stage, obviously, no matter where you are on the scale. But we have the opportunity in front of us to do something more with our life. On the other hand, there's a temporary happiness, which some people would call joy. This kind of feeling is the one, like when I get an ice cream at Dairy Queen, right? Oreo, extra Oreo in my Blizzard. That makes me happy. Or when I hear a great song on the radio, or I find a great book or meet an author that inspires me. It's temporary with really no impact to my overall big happiness. But these are important moments in our lives that help us to be happy. We talked about what it's like what happiness isn't. This is something that happiness is. There's a everyday happiness that we can find in our situation. There's these temporary things. I guess the one thing to just separate these two from each other So let's look at how to be a happy dad. And I found a great article on the Good Men Project. I'll put a link in the show notes. They had 7 points here on how to be happy as a dad and live out your happy day greetings that you give to everyone and receive from everyone. So number 1, to be a happy dad, you need to be present. We need to be the type of dad that's there and available. And I know it's sometimes easy to take the extra shift or stay late or do the extra project, the extra thing. We need to find time to be present with our family. Number 2, we need to let our kids be themselves. Our kids need to have that opportunity to live and grow and find their path. And we can store up our happiness whether or not our kids are doing well. You need to let them be themselves. Number 3, we need to forgive and ask forgiveness. That's a lesson that could be a whole podcast episode all on its own, is letting go of some of those things that have happened, I have the dent in the back of my van that I see every time I pull in the driveway from when one of my kids was learning how to drive. It's a constant reminder to me and frustrating because I like to take care of the things that I work hard for, but at the same time, I've had to bite my lip and not bring it up as a tag to another conversation. Oh, well, at least I didn't dent the van. Right? It's right there on the tip of your tongue, and you got to be careful. Next one is just be consistent. To be a happy dad, you need to show some consistency. Continue to show up. Continue to be the person your family needs. And you can do that in many, many ways. Play with your kids is another one. Find time to be able to have fun and enjoy. We would take our kids when they were younger dirt biking for a weekend. And we had so much great fun. It was a good family time. Got to do something different as a group. And those days for me as an empty nester are few and far between, but a great time when it did happen. To be a happy dad, don't compare. Don't compare yourself to others and where other people are at. I have a gentleman coming on to talk on this podcast about finances, and he's going to talk about just if you're happy with a certain level of home purchase, be happy with that. And it's well within your budget, you're comfortable, things are good, and don't have a vanity purchase where you want to one-up it or get a better house because someone else has a better house. Don't fall into that trap. So just don't be in a comparison game. Next one, take care of yourself. As men, right, we typically are the ones, and I'm speaking to myself, we are the ones that put ourselves last in many, many things. We need to make sure we take time for ourselves and take care of who we are so we can show up for our family. So, as I wish you happy New Year, dads, I'm wishing for you to get out of those ruts, maybe that you were in 2022 or in the past. And it's a new year ahead of us. It's a new chance, a new opportunity for us to step up and be an example for our family. And that's the idea behind the podcast, behind the community that we're building over on Facebook. It's a private community. You're invited. You've listened this far on the podcast. You're invited. Reach out to me and I'll let you in. But we are here to support other dads and create a group of men that want to support each other. And I want to just quickly say at the end too, I look at my stats once in a while and I notice for this podcast, more than half, almost 3/4 of the audience are listening or identify as female. And to me, that means a lot. I'm creating this podcast for men, but if you find value in this podcast, whoever you are, thank you. And that's the idea behind this, is I want to reach out and create a safe space for men to step up and to be a great example to their partners, to their communities, and to themselves. And if I can be a part of that in any way, if you just need to talk to somebody, if you need just someone to listen, I would love to do that for you. So again, my name is Dave. I live in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and this is Dad Space. Having you here with me is great, and I appreciate it. So dads, be a happy dad this year. Happy New Year to you, dads. Let's be happy dads. Get out of that rut. And let's do things that we can to show up as a happy dad this year. That's my goal. Be a happy dad. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one. To show up as a happy dad this year. That's my goal. Be a happy dad. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening to Dad Space today. Go check us out on all of our social media, YouTube, all that great stuff. You can find us as Dad Space Podcast. Real simple. Dad Space Podcast, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube. Email us, dadspacepodcast@gmail.com. We're always looking for great guests to come on the podcast. If you have any feedback for us, let us know here at Dad Space. Looking forward to connecting with you on the next episode, right here of Dad Space. Follow us on your podcast app for more. Cheers. To you, Dad. Thank you.